Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Tim here. So, as you see, Steve. What's up, Steve? What's up, buddy? He may be in and out of the shot. Sorry. So, I'm still at my house, but different spot. I had to lean against something. I usually sit on the floor in front of my records, but my back's bothering me, so I need to lean against something. And the table's a mess, and just a lot too much stuff to move in there to kind of get it right. So I just sat in here. So anyway, what am I doing? I don't know. I do. I am here to celebrate uh, 200 subs for Miss Lady Soul. She's hit a milestone, and I couldn't have been happier for her. I think I've been watching her videos. If not right when she got into the VC, soon thereafter. Absolutely love her. She shows a great diversity of music. She speaks intelligently on all different types. I mean, she's obviously have an affinity for soul. She dabbles in some of the hip hop, which I really appreciate and love because I think there should be more of that shown here. But she's into rock and she's into jazz. Um, she really does appreciate all different types of music, and she's not afraid to go out and just venture out and just show all different genres, which is right up my wheelhouse because I listen to feels like everything. Anyway, so she has asked 5 or 6 questions, and I have them here. So pardon me if I keep referring down. Um, so sorry if I sound winded again. Like I said, back about me. So anyway, let's get on with the show. Show 3 favorite rock albums that influenced you. I think I might have pulled 4 because I could have shown 33 Jimi Hendrix records, and we could have been here for an hour and a half, and could have been nuts, folks. But I did show a Jimi Hendrix record, but I wanted to show 3 others. So I'll show the Jimi Hendrix record first. Electric Ladyland. What needs to be said, right? Show this. This influenced me. Sure did. And we move on. It does have my favorite Jimmy track of all time, Voodoo Child's Late Return, but I love the new direction that he was focusing with the band at this time. It's a shame that we lost him after this because where he was headed in Band of Gypsies. Damn. So, but anyway, when I think about music that influenced me at a ripe, old, early age of impressionable youth, I think back to, and I've talked about him before on this channel, my aunt and my uncle, and spending summers down in Virginia Beach because I used to live in Maryland. So I spent summers down in Virginia Beach with my grandparents, and then I would spend a couple weeks because they live right close by with my aunt and uncle. And in the evenings when I was there, we'd play music, and they let me raid their collection and so on and so forth. So 3 albums that I desperately remember from that time period having a big impact and influence on me to this day even. First one is Jethro Tull, Aqualung. So this was their 4th studio album, probably their biggest breakthrough at this point because it had a couple of big hits, title track Aqualung, Hymn 43, Cross-Eyed Mary comes to mind. Just an absolutely phenomenal album back to front. My God was on here as well. This was kind of their concept album, taking a stance against organized religion, and some of the corruptions thereof. So when you're young, you just hear the hits and you're like, man, this is great. But as you get older, you get to appreciate the subject matter a little bit more. So this album had a profound impact on me as a kid, as did this one. And I was creeped out, and I have it on CD. I don't have it on wax, so hopefully it doesn't disqualify me. But if you can't see it, I'm trying to reduce the first self-titled album from Black Sabbath. So I remember this cover, and I'll take it out of the case here so there's less glare. I remember that cover just creeping me the hell out when I was a kid, but I couldn't stop looking at it, and I was like, what is this? And I remember I think my uncle was just kind of half laughing, half like just getting annoyed with me about just looking at it, not just playing the damn thing. And he put it on one day, and wow, I was not ready for the onslaught that I had heard. And then I got it. It's like, yep, this is where heavy metal was born. I know people, there's talk about them or Blue Cheer or Blue Oyster Cult, or is Led Zeppelin more the father of heavy metal? And all those things obviously had an impact, but the sound of the Devil's Third with Black Sabbath, the down-tuned guitars, just the haunting horror that you heard in the title track. Um, at that moment, Stoner Rock was huge. Stoner Rock was born, and it had laid the groundwork of what heavy metal was going to become. So, um, this album, still to this day, those opening chords of the title track, in the rainstorm, still gives me goosebumps. Killer album. And then last, and this one's in my top 10 for sure, Tull's in my top 10, and Black Sabbath is just on the outside. If I ever go to do that, which I'm sure I will do one of these years. This one, King Crimson and the Court of the Crimson King. This was another one that it was like, hey, you like Yes, you like Jethro Tull, you like early Genesis and stuff like that. My uncle just kind of put it on and said, listen to this. And from the opening notes of 21st Century Schizoid Man, my brain was scattered all over the floor. This one took me in directions I didn't know was even possible. I was like, this is not even a rock band. What is this? This is Interstellar. I was the only kid I knew who was into this. And I would try to turn people onto it, and they were like, what are you playing me? 10 years later, they would come back and go, you ever heard of that? Dude, I told you about it 10 years ago. I don't hear your lip. This one really blew me away. And again, I think it really helped lay the groundwork for the lifelong love I've had of prog music and psychedelic music. So this one, King Crimson and the Court of the Crimson King, by far. So it says show 2 or more soul albums. I grabbed 2 real quick, just off the cusp. A little soul, funk, R&B. I grabbed 2. I could have grabbed a ton. I've got Melba Moore. I've got Ashford and Simpson. I got a ton of Motown. I love that stuff. I just want to grab 2 real quick that I thought were interesting. First one being Sly and the Family Stone. There's a riot going on. This is just iconic. Bad thing about this is that this album is so loved and so played and so sampled. Pretty much anything Sly Stone was sampled. Good luck finding an original press in good condition, because they're just beat to hell. But I have a decent copy. I'd like to get a reissue at some point to have just as a player and save this one. But this has Family Affair on it, so absolutely love this album. About once a month I spin it just for giggles. And then the other one that I thought was interesting, that I've shown a while ago, and it's BT Express, Do It Till You're Satisfied. So this one, if you are a hip-hop connoisseur of breaks, you probably know about 3 or 4 songs on this one. I'm not going to tell you what they are. You go look them up. It's just I know them. But no, a lot of great samples came off of this album, because this is what people had, when those early DJs were playing in the park. First thing you did was raid your parents' collection. A lot of people had this because it was really good and funky. So another great album, BT Express. All right, so show an album that everyone should have that a lot of people don't know about in the VC. So I did 2, because there's one album that we see a lot in the VC. We talk about this guy a lot in the VC. But this is the best, bar none. I don't care what anybody else says. They're wrong. I'm sorry, not to start arguments, but they're just wrong. The best of comp ever. Don't want to hear it. You can't change my mind. This is 14 of the best tracks you'll ever get from any one particular artist at one time in one sitting. And I don't want to hear it. Whatever argument you may have is invalid, and this should be in everyone's collection. That's Bob Marley Legend. Now, Do we talk about Bob Marley a lot here? Yes, we do. So I have a backup. But again, if you don't have this in your collection, you should. Bob Marley is that important. It has so many great songs that span his career. Buy it. But the one that I feel that people should at least check out and at least listen to and see if it's for you, and that's David Axelrod's Songs of Experience. So, my journey to this album is kind of a unique one. DJ Shadow, and I've talked about him ad nauseum here, he was influenced very heavily by this album and one of the other ones that David Axelrod released on the Capitol label when he worked for them, and that was Songs of Innocence, but more so this one. So he actually sampled some of this for his first album, but he also kind of studied the way the compositions were done and the instrumentation and just the presentation of the music. So this is kind of like an instrumental jazz, somewhat orchestral at times. Can be a little psychedelic, but I mean, I think Innocence is a little bit more psychedelic. His last one on the Capitol years was Earth Rot, which was like songs to our earth and things like that. So he's very experimental. But David Axelrod was also a producer, and he produced a lot of great jazz albums for Capitol, and did a lot of work with Cannonball Adderley. So, with Shadow, knew about this, didn't hear it, but then I knew the name, and I would start to look out, some of the stuff he produced, and that led me to Cannonball Adderley as well as the VC had and stuff like that. And so I'd stream this online finally, and I was just blown away. It's worth listening to. I don't know if everybody will get it. I don't know if everybody will enjoy it, but it's at least worth a listen. So that'll be the one I say. We do see some Axelrod from time to time, not as much, but I think that one, the Songs of Experience, is probably his best work. Show a favorite live album. My favorite live album of all time I don't have. As you know, sold my collection years ago, try to get it back because I'm a dummy. And that's Iron Maiden's Live After Death. But one that stands out that I had as a kid that made me appreciate not just this band, but the live experience. And I know they were known for overdubs. A lot of live albums are. They want to create a better product to sell you when you take it home. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the performances weren't authentic. They just cleaned them up a little bit. But this one blew me away. And this is a recent re-pickup again. This is Kiss Alive 2. So, cover is a little worn, but I don't care. You don't play those. So this was the second era of Kiss. They did Kiss, Hotter Than Hell, and Dressed to Kill. And the writing was kind of on the wall for Kiss. Commercially, they weren't doing so well, but live, they were selling out. So Casablanca had the idea to say, let's release a live album. Let's capture the magic. And again, I know a lot of talk about them doing overdubs and whatnot, and I don't care. Alive was just a hell of a great album. And that saved the band, saved the label. I mean, it really put them on the map. So once they got a few more albums in, Rock and Roll Over, Love Gun, obviously it was smart to do a live too. And it kind of focuses on those eras. So you have stuff off of Destroyer, you have stuff off Love Gun, you have stuff off of Rock and Roll Over. So you don't have some of the early classics like Rock and Roll All Night, Black Diamond, Firehouse. So you have that kind of that next wave, the second era, I guess, if you'd want to call it. The band obviously is at a pinnacle. The show is larger than life at this point because now there's money, you can invest, and the band did just that. So 4 guys on stage, and there's your setup, right? So at this point, and then this is when the smashes started to happen. You know, Shout It Out Loud, Love Gun, Calling Dr. Love, Beth, So it was just hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. But they did a fourth side that was all studio. And the one that stood out for me was Rocket Rod. You got Ace. You had Ace before on Shock Me, and now he's chomping at the bit to get another one. And I had always been an Ace fan. Ace was always my favorite of the group. Loved his smoke trick when he would pretend that his Les Paul was smoking up. It was the little smoke pack that he had, and if you ever listen to a live album, you can hear it because it gets very distorted and the crowd gets crazy. That's when it's smoking up. But I always thought, the theatrics and everything. Because like I said, I loved Ace. So once Ace was starting to sing, I was down. So this definitely was a pinnacle live album for me. Lastly, a song that you absolutely hated, that you have now grown to love. Being a dad, you get to hear those things over and over again because your kids like them, and there's really no other way to say it. Old Town Road by Lil Nas X and Billy Ray Cyrus. I know what everybody's saying. It's a bad song. Could be. Probably is. Whatever. But some point during the summer, my youngest, I guess like with the camp he was at, they would listen to music sometimes and have dance parties. And they would play that song every once in a while, and he learned it and he loved it and he would dance to it. And it's through him that I was like, if it's making him happy, how bad can it be? It's not something I would listen to myself. If I'm driving in the car and I happen to have the radio on and I'm not listening to something on my phone or CD and it comes on, I skip it. But if he's in the car, I give it a little extra click and give him a little extra volume, and he has fun with it. And because of that, I like the song. So I don't know if that's what you're looking for. Anyway, I am leaving a link to Miss Lady Soul down at the bottom, because if you are not subscribed, please do. She is a wonderful person, has a heart of gold, and really worth checking out. Not just because I think we need more soul, but I think we just need a well-rounded variety of people here in the VC, and I absolutely love her channel. Comes on, I'm excited to see what she's going to show, because you just never know what you're going to get. So, anyway, take care. Best of luck to your channel. Continued success. I love everything you show, and hopefully you are well. Hopefully everybody's watching this as well, and having a great. We're like 10 days away, I guess, from Christmas. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, happiest Kwanzas, everything. Just whatever it is, may it be joyous and happy. We'll talk soon, VC. Take care. Peace.